CES is right around the corner, and here to break down the latest plans and all the tech trends to watch in 2023 is Gary Shapiro. He's the CEO of the Consumer Technology Association. And Gary, it's so good to see you again. And tell us a little bit about what headlines investors can expect from this year's CES.
Well, a lot of headlines because there's so much going on. Almost every major company will be at CES, traditional technology companies as well as non-traditional. For example, John Deere is our opening keynote speaker. The trends are there. There'll be auto introductions, and most of the major car companies in the world will be there in one form or another. But it's not only mobility by car, it's all sorts of mobility, including a new area of marine mobility. There's some companies showing some energy efficient boats, electric boats, as well as, of course, self-driving cars. We're doing the Indianapolis Autonomous Challenge, where students from around the world compete as to who could have the fastest self-driving car at the local Las Vegas Speedway. And we have also a focus on Web3 and blockchain and the metaverse in a dedicated area, as well as throughout the show. But it's being used for healthcare, for beauty, for automotive, and we'll see that as well as gaming.
I think one of the things that's really struck me, you talk about all the car companies there, and it seems like really over the last handful of years, I mean, CES is almost like the premier auto show now, with the growth of car exhibitors and car components. And you talked about these goals of sustainability. What do you see kind of the storyline in auto this year, and how CES is going to advance that electrification story that's been really what investors have been focused on the last few years?
Absolutely. I mean, there's two different themes, if you will, in that category, just focused on automobiles. One is obviously electrification. I was with Panasonic CEO, and she was talking about, their new battery factories in, they have one is producing 2 billion batteries a year already in Nevada, but also they're opening one in Kansas. Battery components are very big, but electrification, both is, again, it's just the finished products themselves, the cars, but as well as the tier one suppliers that are pervasive throughout CES, doing deals with the car companies and showing their technology. And the second, of course, is self-driving, which is still very, very big. I mean, the news that stole the show, I think last January, was BMW had a car that changed color frequently, and that's really drew a lot of attention. But also their demo cars around the Las Vegas Convention Center were going for the entire show, and people were using them. So there's a lot of focus on electrification, energy usage, and self-driving, as well as other forms of transportation, whether it be electric scooters or boats, or we're even doing something. There's a NASA live broadcast from the satellite station above, and drones that are going around the air and moving people in them. So all sorts of transportation it's something that's part of human security as well.
It's definitely exciting. And I think another one of kind of the buzzier aspects this year has been this emergence of Web3 blockchain initiatives. I think we're in the very early days of a lot of this technology. I think there's a lot of healthy skepticism about how this is going to be applied and developed. But how do you see CES kind of moving the conversation forward and having these potential and hopefully useful applications of technology being displayed?
Yeah, well, certainly when everyone talks about blockchain now, the current news focus is on cyber currency and some of the things going on there and their real value. But that's just, in my view, a tiny segment of what blockchain can do. It certainly can help develop third world countries in terms of private property ownership, which is directly tied to economic expansion. It could trace inventory and food donations in a safe way, and it could do so much in terms of protecting ourselves from personal security and identity and things like that. So blockchain is real, but there's also the metaverse discussion, which is also, there's some swirling around given Facebook or Meta's own changes there recently. But we will see activations around the show floor involving the metaverse. We'll see it, but to me, the metaverse is more of a natural transition to a more realistic environment of turning the two dimensions of the internet into the next generation, similar to what we've done with television, where we went from black and white to color to HD TV, and then to 4K, and now shifting to 8K, or you could look at the transition we see every 10 years like clockwork of wireless servers from 1980s 1G to 2G, 1990, all the way up to 5G now, and we'll start seeing hints at this show or the next show in terms of 6G. So there's a lot of natural transitions going on. Sometimes we define them and call them different things, and the metaverse has gotten a lot of attention, but there's so much involving blockchain there, or Internet 3.0, and there'll be public policy discussions. We'll have a lot of policymakers there as well, from not only from the United States, but from around the world. And really important discussions are going on as the US and other countries try to be the leaders in artificial intelligence and blockchain, in self-driving and robotics. A lot of the, in a sense, the economic opportunities around the world are being looked at from the context of the CES floor, where you can see how individual companies are doing. A lot of these are global companies. A lot of the debate and discussion in the Washington environment, which is going on as recently as the Secretary of Commerce speech last week, and some of the things we've been talking about are how we pursue that going forward, given the challenges in China. Do we close in and start manufacturing more in the US, or do we do with our allies? Certainly, we've taken a pretty strong position as an association that we should be looking to our allies very closely for developments in all these areas in terms of cutting down trade barriers, working together, joint research and development, and initiatives which support each other. Some of the transitional discussions about moving all manufacturing to the United States are they're certainly nice to talk about, but they're really very fanciful in the short to midterm. And we have to figure out a way to transition, just the way we have to figure out a way to transition from fossil fuels. So we're focused on the facts and reasonableness and moving the world forward to solve the basic human problems we face. And that's what you'll see a lot at CES.
Yeah, and I'm just curious, what is the thing or the area that you're most excited about this year?
I am one that loves the big and the small. I love Eureka Park, where we'll have over 1,000 startups, because that's our future. And it's a matter of culture and policy that we encourage that at CES, because good ideas can come from anywhere, any size, anybody in the garage, or from another country. And that's why there's so many different country delegations there. And you always discover like scores of things that you never even thought about that are really cool. And the energy and excitement of those entrepreneurs is contagious, and it's exhilarating for many who attend the show. But also to see the big companies and how this is their one chance, in a sense, all year, given the size and importance of our event, for them to display the full sense of the company in a meaningful way that they want the investment community to see, as well as journalists like yourself, potential partners, small companies, big companies, investors, as well as buyers and retailers and educators and the government buyers that are there. This is the ultimate marketplace of ideas and marketing as well, in terms of presenting yourself. So I like walking the big halls and seeing the big exhibits, and I like the small ones, but I don't want to diss anyone in between the small and the big as well, because you're always discovering things with 2,500 exhibitors.
Well, Gary, thank you so much today, and we're excited to be back.
Thanks, and I look forward to seeing you in Las Vegas.
And you can follow all of our upcoming CES coverage over at investors.com/CES. For Investors Business Daily, I'm Alexis Garcia.